Oh, this is going to be quite the game to talk about here at WinDailySports.com. You were tuned in to the Showdown live stream, of course, all sponsored by the Sharp app. Go to sharp.link, and you can find all the ways to download the Sharp app, Google Play Store, Apple App Store. Also, sign up WinDailySports.com. Get the projection model, get the optimizer, and more. You can use all of these tools for NFL, NBA, NHL. Plenty to go over in the sports world and plenty of action to get in on, and you can use the tools of Win Daily Sports to help you cash on that action. Now, Tony. Not only do we have an AFC East battle tonight, that have also two pretty good defenses, but it's windy as hell out there. I don't know if you saw the video. It looks horrible, and it looks like a terrible, downright awful slate to play Showdown on.
Well, let me tell you something. The only thing I could say is at least we have some players that we can get a little bit excited about. But like you said, I mean, listen, when it's windy, you got to run the ball. And we're talking about Bill Belichick and New England Patriots. You never know who the hell's going to get the ball anyway. We could be in for some trouble tonight.
Yeah, we could be. And I guess why I begrudgingly say, I just don't want to do this. Because I hate when it's a narrative about weather. Because I'm not a bleeping weatherman. I don't know what it's going to be like out there, and I don't know what this is going to change for this game. It's do they change up their game plan? Obviously they have to, but in what ways do they do it, and who benefits from it most? It's like you're completely changing the game plan or what these two teams can do, and I hate it, but we have to talk about it. And of course, I think the one thing that it certainly does is make us look a little bit more at running backs, and also Josh Allen becomes, he's already was great on the slate. You had to put him in. But now it's probably going to be he runs the ball a lot more, and he's much more of a threat still passing than Mac Jones is. If wind is that much of a factor, Mac Jones isn't in here for me at all.
No,
because he can't throw in this.
No, right now, the actual update is 25 to 35 mile an hour sustained with 55 mile an hour gusts.
You can't throw. Mac Jones will not be able to throw past 10 yards.
No.
In this game.
So honestly, you could take in my opinion, your Kendrick Bournes right out. You could take possibly your Jacoby Myers because he's not a deep threat. Maybe a couple slants go to him. Cole Beasley is going to be a huge play because, he's going to be the guy across the middle. What about Matt Breida? Matt Breida could be the silent hero for the Buffalo Bills tonight because they've been leaning on Matt Breida over the last couple of weeks. They really like Matt, and, he's been scoring. He's been running pretty well. So, the problem with the New England Patriots is it going to be Ramondre Stevenson? Is it going to be, is it going to be Harris? Is Bolden going to get a couple? Right. These are the narratives that you got to deal with every week with Bill Belichick. So that's what makes it so damn hard.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen all game long. It's probably gonna switch between the two. Honestly, I imagine the Patriots are gonna try and run all game long. First of all, because they want to in the first place, but now they have even more of an incentive to do it, and I think that's going to benefit both. But in terms of who's going to get the majority of the carries and who's actually going to make the most of them, because we've seen Stevenson and Damian Harris both be really productive with their carries, so it's like a coin toss. And the thing is, if you want to guess, and if you can guess it right, then put it in the captain spot. That's where I would probably put them in the captain spot. Because you could make an argument for Devin Singletary possibly in the captain spot if you want to say that, they're going to run the ball more, and if they run the ball, that means Devin Singletary is going to get the carries. But I'm not along that same path because Josh Allen is still a great running threat and probably the best running threat the Bills have, to be honest with you. And he has a bleeping cannon of an arm that can cut through anything. And so they're still going to be able to – obviously, it's not going to be throwing around as like they usually do, but I imagine they're still going to be able to throw the ball a little bit here because Josh Allen's capable of doing it. So with that being said, I think the clearer path to a captain and who is going to be benefiting – from what the conditions are, to me, it's whatever Patriots running back you think it gets the bulk of the carries and is most productive with them, and that's either Stevenson or Harris.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to go exactly what I did last night. So for Showdown last night, my captain was Javonte Williams, and it was just listen. It's not going to be Mahomes. It's not going to be Bridgewater. It's not not going to be Tyreek Hill or Kelsey. I'm going to go with the running back, and I guess right. It doesn't always happen, but I think tonight's a running back captain and a defense kind of game. I do. And I will tell you, I had a
Right,
secret.
if it's that low scoring, obviously no
Yes.
kickers on this one. I'm not
No.
because they're
No.
I imagine they're not even going to throw a kicker out there if it's on
No.
one side of the field because it was looking like it was coming like
A
in
lot of
from
go,
one end.
lot of 2 point conversions tonight, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. But with that being said, though, that means I'd rather go with the defense.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I actually think because the total's 41 and going down, and we already have some kind of. I think I saw that the under is hitting like 59% of the time when it comes to wins being 25 or over, whatever stupid, ridiculous stat I heard about weather and wind and the under. But it's true though. Like this is going to naturally, I think, be an under game, at least very low total, and if it goes over the total, it's going to be over 41, so not many points. So yeah, I think defenses are absolutely in play here.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. And I think if you talk about defense, you got to go Buffalo. And
I
I
think so
get right.
too. I think so too.
You have to. Number one, they're cheaper. And number two, I think they have more playmakers and they're going up against a young quarterback who's never played in these conditions at Buffalo. So you really have to take all that in consideration. I mean, listen,
And
Leslie
also the
Frazier is a
only
veteran for a reason, right? So I
right.
know Tre'Davious White is not there. I get it. But still, you still have Tremont Edwards in the middle. You still have the guys up front on the defensive line to be able to get at their Mac Jones. So I definitely think that this is a defensive kind of game, obviously, and a tight end kind of game, John. You got to look at the tight ends, and I'll tell you, if you want to go cheap, one way Mac Jones is going to be able to throw the balls to his tight ends, and I'm feeling a John Smith kind of game tonight. I am. I
Could
think
be. Yeah.
he had a nice week last week. He's starting to build a rapport a little bit. He's the more athletic of the two between him and Hunter Henry, and I think he runs a better out route. So I think you can see John Smith put up pretty big dividends tonight, in my opinion.
Yeah, it certainly could happen that way where if they do pass, it's going to be really short and it's going to
Yep.
be a lot of tight ends and Jacoby Myers involved and Cole Beasley. So I do like that. And look, I guess looking at this lineup right now, I was just making one as a mock lineup and see how it kind of impacts it. And you're getting basically the weather conditions are giving you value, which
Yep.
is such a weird thing to say. And again, why I really hate a slate like this with weather playing such a big factor because you have to that is part of the game narrative now is weather, so you have to build like that. And so it gives you the Bills defense, or it gives you a defense, it gives you Devin Singletary, I think it gives you Cole Beasley, it gives you Jacoby Myers.
Hit hit that microphone, John. Hit that microphone.
Oh no. Oh no.
Can't hear you.
No, there we go. Now you got
You are silent, my man.
I'm
You are
silent?
silent. Yes. We got to get John back here.
We got to get Tony
Oh,
to take over.
there we go. There we go. We're getting there. We're out again.
Ah!
We're out again. Well, listen. That's all right, John. We'll get you back. We'll get you back. He's going to come back. But listen, Keith, you were asking. I wonder why FanDuel doesn't allow defensive. I'll tell you what, man. Honestly, FanDuel does a lot of weird things. We know that. So it's very interesting the way. Maybe because they're a higher number. That could be it. Not really sure. Never really looked into it. Glide says my mock bill like 4,000 left over. That's the John Smith territory, Glide. I'm telling you, I love tight end showdown. Listen, John, is he back? Are you back, John?
Yes, I am.
There
Yes,
we
I am.
go. He's
Um,
back.
But yeah, no, that's I guess what Glide was saying there. It's a great point of like
Yep.
it because it is such a different way. Because usually we think of the Bills as spread out, throwing down the field. Emmanuel Sanders, Stephon Diggs. We think of those guys, and those are the highest priced guys in this slate. Like Kendrick Bourne is one of the higher priced guys. Stephon Diggs, Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is completely unplayable. He already has a very low ceiling, and you even want to lower that further because of the usage isn't going to be there likely, and also he's just not going to be as productive. Like we know this. A quarterback like Mac Jones is just not going to be as productive. A rookie against that defense, first of all. So I already had problems with that. And then now with the weather conditions in there, I just think Mac Jones is not playable at all. So it's giving you, the weather is giving you pretty much every value option. And the value options are so good that like they're going to be better than some of the 10, 8K guys. And you're going to probably have a lot left when it comes to these lineup builds.
You are. And here's what you have to look at too. And I always say is to look at what do the numbers tell you, right? You got to look inside the numbers. So I'm looking at running backs per se and looking at the Buffalo. Now, I'm not sure what Zach Moss is going to be, right? He's already been a healthy scratch numerous times. So we'll see where his role is tonight. But why would I pay 6,600 for Matt Breida when I can get Devin Singletary for 4,600? Now, I'm not saying that I'm in love with Devin Singletary, but he had 15 touches last week. Okay,
to mention he's right? better out of the backfield. He's better running the ball.
And he's got 14 targets in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Okay, out of the backfield. So he is the more trusted guy that they're going to throw to. Okay, so that's just what they're going to do. So if Zach Moss is going to be a healthy scratch again tonight, or kind of being a castaway, then I'm all in on Devin Singletary. I think he could be one of the best values on this slate at 46.
He could be a captain. He's absolutely in line to be a captain.
Yep.
For today. I think I would rather go with Damian Harris because there is still a chance that Singletary is vultured and the Buffalo Bills go to maybe what they were doing, a couple of years ago with Josh Allen and not last year. Instead of throwing the ball in 5 wide, they just start running the ball with him like he's Tim bleeping Tebow back there. Like the Florida days of Tim Tebow. Line up formations with the tight end or fullback kind of right in front of him to the right, run these power running games in the goal line with Josh Allen. I think that part of their playbook kind of gets opened up a little bit here. So the only reason I'm worried about Singletary is even if he does get the carries, which I think you could play him, but not in a captain spot, is because Josh Allen would vulture those touchdowns. I'm concerned about that because Josh Allen is going to be involved in the running game. So I think I would be more inclined to use Harris because I'm guessing whether it's going to be Harris or Stevenson, it's been mostly Damian Harris. And if he gets over 20 carries in this game, that's likely going to result in 80 to 100 yards and result in a touchdown. Like, I think there is a much more clear, straightforward path to Damian Harris hitting those numbers than there is for Devin Singletary. I think Devin Singletary should be in your lineup, and to me, like, I love him more than Matt Breida. I'm 100% with you, and he's going to be in every single one. But I guess that's the only reason why I would opt not to put him into my captain.
Yeah, to go back to the New England running back saga, here's the thing.
It's a guess. It's a bit of a guess.
It is, yeah. But I'm going to go with a Ramondre Stevenson night. And the only reason why is because even though Damian Harris did score, you're only talking about 2 more touches he got than Stevenson, and his yards per carry was 3.6 as opposed to 5.7 over the last 2 weeks with Ramondre Stevenson. So Stevenson's running the ball better. He's running the ball for a higher average, and we've seen this with Bill Belichick. He's going to go with the high hand, and I feel like if he would have gave all the carries to Harris, if he would have got 15 to 17 touches last week, I would be more inclined to say he's the guy. But I still think this is an even split, and whoever gets hot, I think this is Stevenson's kind of game. So I think Stevenson really pays off dividends tonight. And again, if you look at it, he's almost $4,000 cheaper. So that gives you right. Your builds can be pretty erratic here with a lot of these values that we're saying.
Yeah, it can. And I would say, because we can make an argument both for Harris and Stevenson. And I think it's true. Everything you said is right. So it's just basically make a couple of lineups, one with Harris, one with Stevenson, and whatever one pops off. Because I think, look, I don't know. That has to happen. I don't see any scenario in which Mac Jones is throwing 40 times and he's throwing down the field. And even if they do throw 40 times in short passes, like, what is that going to lead to, though? Like, is that going to lead to really that big of a day for the passing game of Mac Jones? Like, I just don't see it. So I'm playing, as we see here, like we're playing 2 running backs. We're playing the running quarterback, a defense, and 2 possession receivers. Like, and honestly, if you really want to do it this way, Jacoby Myers not even in there, and we just go with Jonnu Smith because he might be the better play. Like
I love me some Jonnu
right?
Smith tonight. I do.
You're leaving a bunch out there, but that's I don't know. Like I guess is that okay in this slate? And to me, I would say yeah, because this is not a conventional slate to build on now.
No.
Like nothing is conventional about this. It's
No.
already was a defensive battle. Already two teams in division playing for a playoff spot, playing for basically the division crown with this game, and it was already going to be tight to begin with. And now we have 20 to 25 mile per hour winds with 55 mile per hour gusts. I mean, it throws everything for a loop. And so now I'm completely fine if you make a odd build like this and you run with it, because that's pretty much how odd and weird it's going to be.
Yeah, it is. And it's going to be the odd lineup that wins tonight, right? That's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
It really is. Now, I will say, just looking at, I can't leave that amount of money on the table, right? So if it were me personally, I'm still going to rely on Stephon Diggs. Because here's the thing, Stephon Diggs is that kind of guy that can go up in that bump and run coverage. He can go across the middle. He can do it all. So, even in the short passing game, I think he has the ability to take it to the house. So, and in the red zone, I think he's very trusted. You see a little 3-yard slant you could throw. Like you said, guess what? Josh Allen's got one hell of a cannon. So he could throw through 25-mile-an-hour winds, 5 miles. So. You know what I mean? Yeah. He could do that. He could do that. So that's why I like Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs, definitely. I think you don't have to go too far away from the pass catchers because, again, if this is going to be low scoring, you just have to hit on the guys that are getting targets and are, getting that usage. And if Stephon Diggs it could be only for 7 catches for 50 yards, something like that. Yep. But that's completely fine to slate like this because those 12 points are valuable because there aren't going to be many points scored. So I'm completely fine with that. And I'm at a point here, I might even like Breida with obviously Devin Singletary, and obviously that's a lot of Buffalo, so I maybe go off of Cole Beasley.
It's weird.
Right, it is weird. But I don't know, or even just take out Singletary altogether and put Matt Breida in there. But I think Matt Breida, there is a little bit of a chance here that they do pass the ball a little bit. They go short yards with Matt Breida. But also, this could be the game where Matt Breida is on the field and actually maybe taking carries away from Singletary. Maybe he starts to do better in the running game. I'm not saying he is better than Singletary, but if he gets, if they are going to split a little bit of time and Breida gets maybe, 10 carries because we're expecting that much of an increased workload with the running backs, then Breida could be 10 carries, 50 yards, 4 or 5 catches with another 30, 40 yards, and boom, you have the best player on the entire slate in your lineup.
Yeah, and I think tonight is 100% the night where, like you mentioned earlier, you definitely do have to leave the number value out of it because the number value, right? Because you're not adding both quarterbacks in your showdown. That number, you're going to have a ton of remaining salary left. Like I'll give look at last night, Javonte Williams and the Kansas City Chiefs defense won me my showdown league last night. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce did nothing. Patrick Mahomes did nothing. They gave me a combined 30 points. They did nothing. But Javonte Williams and the Chiefs defense were what took me to the end. So this is going to be the same kind of night. So again, running back as captain, maybe defensive captain, but I think that's how you trip up the ownership values. And I think you just throw away that remaining salary. Don't worry about it. It's an odd night. Just go with your gut, and I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think so as well. And honestly, I think we'll just end up leaving it there because this is I don't know. We can go all day about how you play a weather slate like this, but it's really hard to. I'm not going to lie, it's hard. And it's hard to predict how much weather is going to be a factor, how much that does change the game plan, because anything we've seen from Buffalo and New England, throw it away. It's completely different. It's like a snow game. It's completely different than anything else. So
no, I agree 100%.
He's definitely
that's good, Keith. Back. That's good. That's a good point.
Yeah,
we talked about that earlier.
Zach Moss could. I'm afraid he's just losing too much of a spot in the rotation for Singletary and Breida, and that Breida's going to take even more carries away from. Not Breida takes a ton, but since Breida is getting involved more and probably on the field more, that he I don't know. I just afraid Moss gets a little bit too lost in that he doesn't get enough carries to justify the already, not many productive carries that he gets to begin with. And even the touchdown equity that he usually gets, and they usually say, hey, goal line carries, is that going to also be there as well? So there's one way Zach Moss, I think if he is healthy, you would put him in, is because you think touchdowns. Like he'll end up scoring. But I don't know. I think we're kind of getting away from that with.
Yeah, I do. And again, do the eye test. Matt Breida had a hell of a
Yeah,
burst the last couple
absolutely.
weeks.
Absolutely.
So I don't think McDermott's going to go away from that at all.
I don't think so either. We're not going to go away from you too much now because as we're wrapping things up here on the Win Daily Sports Showdown stream, small sponsored by the Sharp app. Go to Sharp, that link all the way down with the Sharp app. We're going to instead go to NBA, where we don't have to worry about weather in the NBA. Thank bleeping God. We're going to do that next here at WinDailySports.com. But thanks to Tony. You can follow him at TCatilla23. You can follow me at JamesJansen34. I'll be back in just a few minutes with the NBA crew coming up next year at WinDailySports.com.